October 27th, 5 p.m. West Chatham, Chicago. A red light. A black Chevy Cruze sits idling at the intersection of 76th and Vincennes, right outside of McDonald's. Inside, 26-year-old Ariana Bosney adjusts the rear-view mirror. Her son sits in the back seat, probably asking for fries or humming along to whatever's playing on the radio. Just another Monday, just another moment. Then a car pulls up beside her, windows roll down, 15 shots explode into the air. Glass shatters, metal tears. Her son's screams cut through the gunfire as the world around them erupts into chaos. Smoke, casings hitting the pavement, tires screeching. And then, silence. Ariana slumps forward, blood pooling, her son still screaming her name. But here's the thing, this wasn't random. This wasn't some wrong place, wrong time situation. This was targeted, planned, executed. So what really happened? Was Ariana Bosney a target? Or just another young woman caught in a war she never started? Welcome to True Crime Malice. Drop your city in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe because what comes next is going to blow your mind. Before she was a headline, before she was a hashtag, before her name became a rumor that got her killed, Ariana Bosney was just a girl from Normal, Illinois, trying to make it out. Normal population is 52,000, quiet streets, college town vibes. The kind of place where nothing much happens and everyone knows your business. For most people, that's enough. But not for Ariana. She had bigger dreams, louder dreams, dreams that didn't fit inside the borders of a small town. So she moved to Chicago, and that's where she became G.R.E. In the city, Ariana found her voice, not the polite small-town version of herself, but the raw, unfiltered, unapologetic version. She started writing, recording, posting. Her music wasn't pretty, it wasn't meant to be. Tracks like Want All the Smoke and Not My Problem hit hard, heavy bass, sharp lyrics, no apologies. She rapped about the streets, about survival, about being underestimated, and people listened. Her style was gritty, authentic, real. In a genre dominated by men who didn't think women belonged, G.R.E. made them pay attention. She didn't try to rap like them. She didn't soften her edges to fit in. She came in loud, confident, and ready to prove she could go bar for bar with anyone. And that earned her two things, respect and enemies. But behind the microphone, behind the tough lyrics and the Instagram posts, Ariana was a mother. A young mom raising her son alone in one of the most dangerous cities in America. His father? Locked up, multiple murder convictions. So it was just her and her boy, navigating a world that didn't care if they made it or not. Everything she did for him. Every late-night studio session, every song she dropped, every piece of merch she designed. She wasn't just chasing fame, she was chasing a way out. A future where her son wouldn't have to grow up hearing gunshots outside his window, where he could have a home far away from the chaos. Ariana was a grinder. She built her brand from the ground up. Social media became her stage. She posted freestyles, teased new music, cracked jokes with her followers, showed off her merch ideas. She wasn't waiting for a record deal or a co-sign. She was doing it herself, one post at a time. And people loved her for it. Her fan base grew, her name started buzzing in the Chicago drill scene. She was on her way. In a city where jealousy moves faster than opportunity, where clout is currency and beef is business, Ariana's rise didn't go unnoticed. Some admired her hustle, others resented it. Women in drill already had it hard enough. Constantly questioned, constantly compared, constantly told they didn't belong, and when one of them started shining, that light made her a target. Ariana knew it too, you could see it in her eyes. On good days, she was bubbly, shopping with her girls, filming vlogs, laughing, living. But on other days, the weight showed. The paranoia, the exhaustion, the constant looking over her shoulder. Living in Chicago meant learning to move carefully, keep your circle tight, trust no one. Because in this city, the people who smile in your face today might be the ones plotting on you tomorrow. Still, she kept going. She kept posting, kept recording, kept dreaming. Because what else was she supposed to do? Give up? Go back to normal? Let the streets win? No. Ariana Bosney wasn't built like that. But here's the thing about Chicago. Ambition doesn't just get you fans, it gets you attention. And attention? In the wrong city? With the wrong people watching? Attention gets you killed. To understand what happened to Ariana Bosney, you have to understand the world she lived in. And that world? It's not just music. It's prophecy, it's pain, it's performance art wrapped in danger, where every bar you spit could be the last thing you ever say. Welcome to Chicago Drill. Drill didn't start as entertainment. It started as documentation. Young kids in forgotten neighborhoods picking up microphones instead of textbooks, turning their trauma into tracks. The beats are dark, aggressive, relentless. The lyrics? Even darker. They talk about blocks, bodies, and beef. They name names, they call out enemies, they dare people to respond. And here's the problem. People do. In drill, lyrics aren't just words, they're threats. A diss track isn't just a song, it's a declaration of war. You drop a verse calling out a rival, that rival hears it, his crew hears it, the whole city hears it, and suddenly, what started as bars on a beat turns into bullets on a block. Social media makes it worse. Way worse. Back in the day, beef stayed local. Now, it's global. A rapper drops a diss at midnight, and by sunrise, it's been reposted, dissected, and turned into memes. Comment sections become battlegrounds. Fans pick sides. Bloggers add fuel. And before you know it, someone's dead. This is the cost of clout. Young artists, teenagers, 20-somethings rapping their own eulogies in real time. They chase views, chase streams, chase respect, but every like, every share, every viral moment puts a bigger target on their back. They're not just making music, they're playing Russian roulette with their lives. And the saddest part? They know it. They see their friends die, they go to funerals, they post RIP tributes, and then they go right back to the studio and do it all over again. Because what's the alternative? Stay quiet? Stay broke? Stay invisible? In Chicago, silence doesn't keep you safe, it just makes you irrelevant. Now let's talk about women in drill, because they've got it even harder. In a scene built by men for men, female rappers are constantly fighting for space. They're told they're too soft, too emotional, not street enough. And when they prove they can hang, when they start getting attention, getting respect, getting shine, that's when the real danger starts. A woman who's too loud, too confident, too successful becomes a problem, not just to rivals, but to men who feel threatened by her presence. She's not supposed to win. She's not supposed to out-rap them, out-hustle them, or out-grind them. And when she does, she becomes a target. Ariana Bosney was that woman. But here's the thing about Chicago's drill scene. Violence isn't something that happens occasionally. It's not an outlier. It's the foundation. It's the air these artists breathe. Beefs don't get squashed. They get buried with bodies. Rumors don't fade. They fester. And once your name gets caught up in the wrong conversation, once the streets start talking, once the internet decides you're guilty of something, it doesn't matter if it's true. Rumors travel faster than bullets, and both can kill you. By October 2025, Chicago had already lost too many young artists, too many mothers, too many sons and daughters. The cycle kept spinning, the bodies kept dropping, and the music kept playing. But 2 murders in 2 days would shake the city in a way it hadn't been shaken in years. 2 names, 2 lives, 2 deaths that would expose just how deadly this world really is. And Ariana Bosney's name would be written in blood right next to it. October 25th, 2025. Little Village, Chicago. Mid-afternoon. The kind of day where nothing feels off until everything goes wrong. THF BayZoo, real name Devon Shakalia, 35 years old, pulls up to an auto parts shop. He's not alone. He's got 2 bodyguards with him, both armed, both alert, because in Chicago, especially if you're connected, you don't move without protection. BayZoo steps out. He's there for something simple. Auto parts, maybe a battery, maybe some filters, doesn't matter. It's routine, quick in, quick out. But someone knew he'd be there. 2 gunmen appear. No masks, no hesitation. They walk up like they've done this before, like they've been waiting for this exact moment. And then they open fire. Shots ring out. BayZoo's bodyguards try to react, but it's too late. Bullets tear through the air. The guards go down, wounded, bleeding, but alive. BayZoo? He takes multiple hits. Chest, torso. He collapses. The shooters disappear into the chaos, leaving behind shell casings, blood, and a scene that would be all over the internet within the hour. BayZoo was rushed to the hospital, but he didn't make it. And just like that, another name was added to Chicago's growing list of fallen rappers. But this wasn't just any rapper. This was THF BayZoo, a name that carried weight, a man with history, a survivor who had beaten the system once before. BayZoo was a close associate of Lil Durk, one of the biggest names in drill. They grew up together on Chicago's South Side, navigating the same streets, the same struggles, the same violence. BayZoo wasn't just a friend, he was family, and he had a past that made him a legend in the streets. Back in 2009, BayZoo was charged with the murder of 21-year-old Dominic Barnes. He was arrested in 2014 at Lil Durk's home in Orland Park. The case went to trial, the evidence was presented, and in 2017, a Cook County jury found him not guilty. He walked free. Around the same time, another Chicago rapper, King Von, was also acquitted on murder charges. 2 men, 2 trials, 2 victories, and they celebrated it the only way they knew how. They made a music video. In 2018, BayZoo and King Von dropped Beat That Body, a track where they bragged about beating their cases, mocking the system, flexing their freedom. It was bold, it was reckless, and it was exactly the kind of move that made them legends in the drill world. But freedom in Chicago is temporary. King Von was shot and killed in 2020, and now, 5 years later, BayZoo was gone too. The video of BayZoo's murder spread like wildfire. Grainy footage, shaky angles, but clear enough to see what happened. Clear enough to see him fall. And the internet did what it always does. It exploded. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit. Everyone had something to say. Theories flew. Accusations dropped. People started pointing fingers before his body was even cold. His wife Tiffany confirmed his death on Instagram. Her post was heartbreaking, raw, devastated, but it also carried a weight that most people didn't understand. Because this wasn't the first time Tiffany had buried someone she loved. 9 years earlier, her 14-year-old son, Raheem Demaron, was shot and killed. The boy had allegedly tried to kill a man a week before. That man survived, and a week later he came back and killed Raheem in retaliation. Now, 9 years later, Tiffany was burying her husband. Another life taken, another cycle of violence, another funeral. The grief was unbearable, but so was the rage. Because this wasn't random. BayZoo didn't just happen to be at that auto parts shop. Someone knew, someone told, someone dropped his location, and the streets wanted answers. Who set him up? Bloggers claimed she was there, that she knew where BayZoo would be, that she dropped his location to his enemies. The accusations spread faster than the facts. No proof, no evidence, just whispers, speculation, and rage. And in Chicago, that's all it takes. Within 48 hours, Ariana's name was everywhere. Comment sections, group chats, Instagram stories. People tagged her, threatened her, called her a snitch, a rat, a dead woman walking. She didn't respond. Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe she was too scared. Or maybe she knew that no matter what she said, it wouldn't matter. Because once the streets decide you're guilty, the trial is over. And the sentence? death. BayZoo's body wasn't even in the ground yet, and the internet had already decided who killed him. Within hours of his death, social media turned into a courtroom. No judge, no jury, just thousands of people with opinions, keyboards, and zero accountability. Twitter threads exploded, Instagram stories lit up, YouTube comment sections became war zones. Everyone had a theory, everyone had a name. And that name was Ariana Bosney. It started with the bloggers, the ones who live for drama, who feed off chaos, who turn tragedy into content. They posted screenshots, blurry, out of context, meaningless, but it didn't matter. They captioned it with accusations. She was there, she knew, she set him up. Anonymous accounts jumped in. Burner profiles with no faces, no names, no credibility. They reposted, they tagged, they added fuel to a fire that was already out of control. And just like that, Ariana's name was everywhere. GRE, the snitch, the rat, the one who dropped BayZoo's location. Ariana's comment sections flooded with threats. People she didn't know, people she'd never met, people who had never heard her music but were ready to see her dead. You're done. You know what happens to snitches. RIP in advance. The drill world has an unwritten rule, one that everyone knows, one that no one breaks. Snitches don't survive. Doesn't matter if you're guilty. Doesn't matter if it's true. Once the streets label you, once your name gets tied to betrayal, you're marked. And that mark doesn't wash off. Ariana had to have seen it. She had to have known what people were saying. Her phone was probably blowing up, her DMs flooded, her mentions a nightmare. So why didn't she say anything? No statement, no defense, no Instagram live clearing her name, just silence. Was it fear? Did she think staying quiet would make it go away? Or did she know that it didn't matter what she said? That no explanation, no denial, no truth would change what was already in motion? Maybe she thought it would blow over. Maybe she thought people would move on to the next story, the next scandal, the next body. Or maybe, just maybe, she knew exactly what was coming. Because in Chicago, silence doesn't protect you. It just gives people time to plan. Her friends must have warned her, told her to lay low, stay off the streets, delete her socials, leave town. But Ariana had a son. She had a life. She couldn't just disappear. And maybe she didn't think it was that serious. Maybe she thought the internet was just talking, that it was all noise. But the internet doesn't just talk, it acts. And 48 hours after BayZoo murder, the noise turned into action. So let me ask you this. What would you do if the internet turned on you like this? If thousands of people you'd never met decided you were guilty of something you didn't do? Would you speak up and defend yourself knowing it might make things worse? Or would you stay quiet and hope it all goes away? Drop your answer below. I want to know. Because Ariana Bosney made her choice, and less than 48 hours later, she would pay the ultimate price. October 27th, 2025. Just before 5 p.m. 76th and Vincennes, West Chatham neighborhood. Right outside a McDonald's. Ariana Bosney sits at a red light in her black 2014 Chevy Cruze. Her son is in the back seat. It's a normal moment, the kind of moment that happens 1,000 times a day in 1,000 different cities. A mother, a son. A red light, and then everything shatters. Another car pulls up beside her, slow, deliberate, like they've been following her, like they've been waiting for this exact moment. Windows roll down, and the gunfire starts. 15 shots. 15 explosions of sound and fury. The bullets don't hesitate. They don't miss. They tear through the driver's side window, ripping through glass, metal, and flesh. Ariana's body jerks as the rounds slam into her. Abdomen, torso, blood sprays across the dashboard. Her hands fall from the steering wheel. Her head slumps forward. Her son screams. The shooters don't care. They empty their clips and speed off, disappearing into traffic like ghosts. No masks, no plates, just gone. Witnesses freeze. Some duck, some run. Some pull out their phones and start recording. Because that's what people do now. They document. They post. They turn tragedy into content before the body is even cold. Someone calls 911. Within minutes, sirens fill the air. Police cars, ambulances, fire trucks. The intersection becomes a crime scene. Yellow tape goes up. Officers start canvassing. Paramedics rush to the Chevy Cruze. Ariana is still breathing, barely. Her son is hysterical, covered in his mother's blood, but physically unharmed. They pull him out first. Then they work on her. She's loaded into an ambulance and rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center, lights flashing, sirens blaring, medics working frantically to keep her alive. Back at the scene, investigators start piecing it together. 15 shell casings scattered across the pavement. Bullet holes punched through the driver's side window. The black Chevy Cruze sitting there, like a monument to violence, riddled with death. One detective shakes his head. Another takes photos. They've seen this before. Too many times, different names, different face, same story. News spreads fast. Someone posts a video from the scene. Then another. Then another. Within an hour, Ariana's name is trending. Her fans flood social media with prayers. Please God, let her pull through. Not G-Ari. Please not her. Praying for you, sis. Stay strong. But deep down, they already know. 15 shots at close range, multiple hits to the abdomen and torso. The odds aren't good. Hours pass. The prayers get more desperate. People refresh timelines, waiting for updates, hoping for a miracle. And then the news breaks. Ariana Bosney, pronounced dead. The prayers turn into RIP posts. The hope turns into grief. The disbelief turns into rage. Her son, the little boy who sat in the back seat and watched his mother get murdered, is physically unharmed. No bullets touched him, no glass cut him, but the trauma? That's a wound that will never heal. He'll grow up remembering that day. The sound of gunfire, his mother's blood, her body slumping forward, the screams, the sirens, the strangers pulling him out of the car while he begged them to save her. He'll grow up without a mother. His father is already locked up for multiple murders. So now what? Who raises him? Who holds him when he has nightmares? Who tells him it's going to be okay when nothing about this is okay? The investigation moves forward, but it's already stalling. No arrests, no suspects, no witnesses willing to talk. Just another open case in a city drowning in violence. Just another file on a detective's desk. Just another name added to the list. Chicago police say they're looking into it, they say they're following leads, they say they're committed to finding justice. But the streets know better. In a city where murders happen every day, where witnesses stay silent out of fear, where snitches get stitches and cooperation gets you killed, justice is rare. Ariana Bosney became another statistic. Another young black woman gunned down in broad daylight. Another mother who won't see her son grow up. Another dream cut short by bullets and hate. She wanted to make it out. She wanted to build something. She wanted her son to have a better life. Instead, she became a headline, a hashtag, a cautionary tale. And the saddest part? It didn't have to be this way. The city reacted the way it always does, publicly, quietly, and somewhere in between. Within days, candles appeared at the intersection of 76th and Vincennes. Friends, neighbors, and fans gathered for vigils, pressing flowers into the cold asphalt and leaving mixtapes, handwritten notes, and worn hoodies on the hood of a car that had become a shrine. A mural cropped up on a nearby wall, a painted face with oversized headphones, a name in bold letters, and a spray-painted date that no one wanted to mark on a calendar. On social media, the scene was split. Some poured out genuine grief. Old classmates sharing childhood photos, fellow artists posting audio clips of studio sessions, and local organizers coordinating support for Ariana's son. Those posts sparked real-world help. funeral contributions, offers of temporary housing, people volunteering to drive the boy to school while the family arranged next steps. That kind of community response mattered. It calmed some of the immediate chaos and reminded people that a life once lived meant more than a headline. But the relief was short-lived. The same platforms that carried condolences also became places for ugly contradictions. Accounts that had spent the weekend tagging and accusing now posted black and white RIP graphics, short captions, and trending hashtags. The tone shifted overnight from accusation to sympathy, and many users seemed to treat grief as content, an opportunity for engagement rather than an invitation to reflect. It was a bitter paradox. The people who helped spread the rumor that had placed a target on her back were now collecting sympathy points from the very tragedy they had amplified. At home, the practical consequences were crushing. Ariana's son, still too young to understand motive or consequence, was left without a mother in the space of a single afternoon. His father remained incarcerated on unrelated charges, leaving guardianship questions in limbo and a long list of people and agencies scrambling to figure out who would care for him. This is a pattern that repeats in neighborhoods across the city. A child loses a parent to violence while the other parent is absent, incarcerated, or otherwise unavailable. The result is a generation marked by loss, shuffled between relatives, group homes, and the attention of well-meaning strangers. Grief in these communities evolves into a brittle acceptance. Funerals stack up, candlelight vigils become routine. People grow numb, not because they have stopped caring, but because pain arrives with such regularity that outrage alone can feel futile. That numbness feeds the cycle. Fewer witnesses willing to come forward, less pressure on authorities to solve cases, and another life erased without accountability. For families left behind, the system's slow response reinforces the sense that their loved ones' deaths won't be fully reckoned with. And then there's the question that keeps resurfacing at every memorial. Was Ariana actually involved in BayZoo's murder, or was she scapegoated by a rumor that spiraled out of control? The short answer is there's no verified public evidence linking her to the earlier shooting. Yet in a subculture where image and reputation can be deadly currency, the court of public opinion often moves faster than an official inquiry. Once an accusation attaches to a name, cleaning it off becomes nearly impossible. This is the harsh reality of the drill scene. Perception frequently becomes fact. Lyrics, posts, and hearsay are treated as proof. A smear campaign can serve as a sentencing. Because of that, someone who is famous for their music and persona can be reduced overnight to a single, damning label. That label carries consequences beyond online ridicule. It can alter how neighbors interact with you, whether witnesses will speak to police, and ultimately, how dangerous you are on the streets. Ariana's case exposes a wider failure, a cycle of rumor, violence, and minimal closure that disproportionately affects young people trying to climb out of difficult circumstances. Her death forced a city to reckon with how quickly accusations can calcify into sentences, how social media can accelerate harm, and how fragile the promise of protection truly is for those who live with public profiles and private vulnerabilities. Even now, with chalk outlines cleaned and flowers left to wither, the questions remain. Who pulled the trigger? Why was she targeted? And how many more times will the same pattern repeat before something changes? She wasn't flawless. She had rough edges, loud opinions, and a past that followed her. But Ariana Bosney was trying, working late nights in studios, juggling diapers and deadlines, hustling online to turn a voice into a future for her son. That drive is everything. It's the reason she rose above a small-town start, the reason strangers started calling her G-Ari, the reason playlists picked up her tracks. Talent alone didn't define her. It was the promise she carried for a better life. What makes this loss unbearable is how ordinary so many of the details feel. A stoplight, a McDonald's, a child in the back seat. That combination, so familiar to millions, turns a headline into a human story. For her son, the consequence is immediate and permanent. He will grow up with fragments of a life he can't reclaim, recordings and videos, other people's memories, a community's grief. And he will ask questions no child should have to ask. Who will answer him? Who will teach him how to grieve without inheriting the anger that fueled this violence? Ariana wanted a legacy built from music and a steady hand for her boy. Instead, her name is now spray-painted on a wall, scrawled across timelines, and spoken in vigils. That fate, turning potential into a memory, is the blunt end of a culture that frequently rewards aggression and punishes anyone who dares to stand out. The truth is stark. She didn't fail because she lacked effort or talent. She was cut down by a system of retaliation, rumor, and easy judgment that often leaves victims where they fell. This isn't just a story about one life. It's a reflection of how quickly public opinion can harden into accusation, how social feeds can turn into hunting grounds, and how the people closest to the violence are the ones who pay the real price. It's also an invitation to look inward. How do we respond when controversy hits someone we don't know? Do we pile on? Do we demand receipts before we tag someone guilty? Do we turn mourning into metrics? Now it's your turn. What do you think? Was GRE set up? Could this have been prevented? Drop your thoughts below, and if this story hit you, hit that subscribe button. We're diving into more cases like this every week.